Hi, it's Kareem Habibi from Keeper's Nursery. So I'm just giving an update on some of the grafting that I did, which was for the seedlings that I've produced. So over here on these rows behind me, there are now 350 apple seedlings all grafted onto all grafted onto M9. So right now it's August 2023. These will grow into maiden apple trees next summer, so 2024. Start seeing some fruit on some of the earlier ones, possibly in 2025. I definitely expect to see some fruit in 2026, but I'd expect about 50% of these apples to be fruiting in 2028, which sounds like a long time, but you know, in the world of growing apple trees from seed, you know, for developing new varieties, it isn't too bad. Yeah, so basically it's an encouraging, well, it's done now, it's encouraging. Hopefully some of the varieties are going to be good. I've done some things like Captain Kidd and Freyberg, things that I like. They're all openly pollinated seedlings because as such I'm not really sure what crosses. I don't know if I know enough about the actual, you know, all the genes involved with every single apple to bother really going down the lines of trying to create some perfect apple between two crosses. I will actually start experimenting with crosses from next spring, so those apples will be, I don't know, near 2030. I think they'd be fruiting, but you know, I'll see what the difference is. I suppose I'm going to be here for hopefully the rest of my life, so I've got a lot of years ahead of me to play around with. There's some more seedlings down in this section here that I've done. So there's another, not quite 200. There's about 500 different seedlings that I've done. I think it was just slightly over 500, which is substantially more than I have done in the past. So I think I mentioned before, I collected some seeds in 2016, grafted those I think in 2018, so this would be what, the 5th year, 2023 ish. I might be one year off here or there. So here are some of the apple seedlings that I've done. Apologies for the noisy road. We'll go this side because the sun's better. Well, it's quite messy on this side. But anyway, you can see, so growing apples from seed. This is oh, there you go. This is a Kids Orange Red seedling. Nice apple, resembles Kids Orange Red to some extent. Bear in mind it is August, still mid-August, so these apples aren't all going to be ripe, but they are quite nice. But yeah, just an encouragement to anyone out there who does want to try growing anything from seed. The success rate is actually semi-decent. To be fair, these aren't seeds from apples from a shop. So if you grew apples from seeds from a shop, let's say it's a gala, because lots of them are in England are galas. The cross is basically going to be gala with a crabapple pollinator. That's probably going to increase the chances that the seedling is going to be something like a crabapple, which obviously isn't what you want. You want a nice sweet dessert apple. These are all crosses that I've just left. Well, they're all from the nursery, so all the apples are from the nursery, and apples from the nursery will be crossed with other apples from the nursery. Therefore, you know, potentially you're getting quite unique individual crosses, which won't happen anywhere else, which is good. Yeah, there's lots of a lot of fruiting this year, so a lot of branches breaking off. These trees aren't particularly well looked after. That's my fault. I can't even mow down here because it's too tight, and I don't want to ruin the trees. This one looks nice. This one, number 23. Yeah, I've actually grafted this one, so this one is a decent apple. I've given it a 3 out of 5 because I'm extremely harsh on the rating scale, the 1 to 5. Lots of 1s, quite a few 2s, a few 3s, very few 4s, but that's just it's just how it goes really, and no such thing as a 5 anyway. Yeah, so the best apples out here. So about 3-4 years ago, this tree fruited. This was number 73, which I've actually sort of registered with Fruit ID. This apple is called, well, it's now called, I don't know if you can see it quite well. This one I've named Hamid's Red Pippin after Dad. So some of you might know Dad, well, my father passed away a few years ago, but he would have really liked seeing this, and he worked in the nursery and he ran the nursery for many years. So I named that one. This one is a lovely one as well. Oh, hold the camera properly. This one I've named after my wife. I haven't fully registered it yet. This one's called Beth Ann. It's a very sorry. You can tell that it's good because the birds, the insects like it. But yeah, this one's a superb apple, a nice early season apple. It's quite small, so my wife liked it, so we named it after her. So it's like a very early, sweet, crisp apple, which is, you know, unusual out there in the market. This yellow one is fantastic. It's not fully yellow yet. But that one is a sort of November apple, and I only sort of discovered it last year because it only fruited for the first time last year. And yeah, I was really impressed with it. There's a few others here that I have actually propagated again for keeping. Yeah, the more on the ground you can see it's just still so much fruit in a lot of the trees that they are starting to keel over. And then the last apple I'll show today might almost be ripe. So there's a school next door, and some of the children gave me this section here. These are all sort of seedlings that the school started off and I propagated for them. But this one here from St Helens School, Montessori School, is actually quite nice. It's a really early season apple, fruited last year in 2022 the first time. And yeah, it's pretty good. So I've propagated, I don't know, 25 of these to give away to the school so they can give them to or sort of do some sort of charity thing for the raise money for the school, I suppose. But it was actually quite good. I don't think we know which child actually selected the seedling and raised it, but you know, I think they'll name it after the school rather than some of the names the children came up with. But anyway, it's encouraging. Have a go if you have, I don't know, let's call it 8 years to play around with. I would say if you took a gamble on sort of 30 seedlings, you'd probably end up with a few good apples. So it's a fun thing to do. But yes, it's a sort of labour of love and patience. But then again, if you are growing any apple tree, you know, if you planted made an apple tree in your garden, it's not going to look fantastic. It's not going to be productive for the first 5 years anyway. So it's not actually that much. You know, it sounds like a lot, but if you do anything with apple trees, it does take time. But yeah, you can end up with something quite fun and nice. And you know, I would start with something that you maybe select some seeds from. I mean, I'm happy to give away seeds. It doesn't cost, you know, I'm not using them for anything. I'm sure the birds can spare them. But I would start with something like that rather than just going to the supermarket, picking up some pink ladies and chucking the seeds in the ground, because you're not going to end up with pink lady. You're going to end up with possibly pink lady crossed with a crab apple, and that's potentially going to end up with something with a lot of crab apple in it, which isn't going to be very nice. Anyway, I'm going back to work to do more grafting. I've almost finished for the year. Hope everyone's all right. I mean, I guess you can subscribe if that's what you like doing, but I mean, these videos are probably quite bad. I apologise that I'm not really going to edit them. I have way too much on my hands right now, so I just will upload them as they are, raw footage. You can, you know, you can see that I'm a busy guy, and but hopefully they're interesting, and I'll chat more about stuff. And I guess if you do want to leave some sort of cool comment about what you want to see or what would interest you, I will do my best to address that and try and help out. These are some of the maiden apple trees growing. They're decent this year actually. The height on the trees is much better than last year because we had rain. I don't know, I think the rain stopped for the year, but we have rain. In Kent, unfortunately, we seem to be under an invisible umbrella where we get no rain in the summers these days, so trees, they grow well, but we don't irrigate them once they're maiden, so the root structures are quite good though, because they are finding their own water, so bare root trees with very, very good root structures is important. And the most important thing to do when you do get your tree, pop it in the ground, plant it well, but also water it that first year to get it established, because once the roots are good, you'll see the tree is going to be healthy. It will fight off pests and disease. It's not going to be stressed. Remove fruit that first year, and then you can go from there really. I mean, trees take care of themselves once the roots are happy. So anyway, take care, bye bye.